The line for the NFL franchise tag has come and gone, as many teams wait until the last minute to prevent key players from becoming unrestricted free agents. The Baltimore Ravens eventually tagged Lamar Jackson, while the New York Giants had to decide whether to block Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley from moving into free agency. The Dallas Cowboys and Las Vegas Raiders wasted no time tagging Tony Pollard and Josh Jacobs more than 24 hours before the line to ensure their best back runs didn't hit the market. 6 teams have decided to use the franchise tag out of this season, creating even more speculation as to whether those teams will be able to reach long-term deals with the tagged players. With the franchise tagline passed, with less than a week to free agency, here are the winners and losers. The Giants managed to achieve the goals they set, reaching a long-term deal with Daniel Jones and franchise label Saquon Barkley. From an organizational point of view, this is a win for the franchise. Jones signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with a full guarantee of $82 million. Signing Jones allowed New York to place the franchise label on Barkley and give the front office until July to reach a long-term deal with Barkley. The ongoing question for the Giants, with a 9.61 and a career-year quarterback and an average run back of less than 4.5 yards per carry after ACL surgery, was the divisional round playoff appearance ceiling? Giants will learn in the coming years. This offseason, New York is holding Jones and Barkley. This is a win for the franchise. The Cowboys were wise to not let Tony Pollard enter free agent market, put franchise tag on him, and gave talented actor back $10.91 million for 2023 season, while Dallas gives themselves more time to strike a long-term deal with Pollard. It still pays Ezekiel Elliott $16.72 million in 2023. Dallas is currently paying $27.63 million for 2 running backs next season. This needs to be fixed in the coming months. The Cowboys can't build a Super Bowl championship roster with a salary cap of more than $16 million. Going to Elliott. Elliott's contract must be restructured or the Cowboys must cut ties with him altogether. They cannot make 2 consecutive payments of more than $10 million per season. Brown is looking to sign a long-term deal with Kansas City Chiefs, but will have an opportunity to test the free agent market this year as Kansas City has decided not put franchise label on it. Arguably the best offensive lineman on the market, when Brown finally gets chance to show how valuable he is as a left back, teams can get into bidding war for him. Just 3 left steals earn more than $20 million per season, and only 1 left steal has a contract worth over $100 million. Brown looks set to make over $100 million and over $20 million a year as a free agent. The Raiders have certainly benefited from tagging Jacobs off this season, especially as Jacobs came out of a season where he led the NFL on the offensive lines and offensive yards while winning first-team All-Pro awards. Jacobs was arguably cream of the crop of all-back runs set to hit free agent. The Raiders then tagged Jacobs and took him off the market while earning a salary of $10,091 million in 2023. Jacobs would have gotten more had he hit the open market, especially since the Raiders rejected a 5th-year option for 2023. Jacobs should do well in Josh McDaniels' second-year offensive and put in big numbers. But would he have been paid as much this summer if he had more tread on his tires? If Jacobs doesn't get a contract extension, 2023 will be another prove-it year. Jackson will have an opportunity to test market, as the Baltimore Ravens have placed their non-exclusive franchise tag on franchise quarterback. This gives Jackson opportunity to negotiate with the other teams and gives them a chance to offer Jackson guaranteed money he's looking for on his next contract. If Jackson is offered a king's ransom on his next deal, The Ravens can choose to match it or get 2 picks in the first round. If Baltimore decides to abide by it, Jackson turns to the Ravens and takes his money. Either way, Jackson gets his money's worth, from the Ravens or any other team. At worst, Jackson receives a guaranteed $32,416 million in 2023. The Ravens want to pay Jackson, but slapping Jackson's non-exclusive franchise label is a major gamble. Jackson will be paid by a team next week and a bidding war will ensue for him. In return, 2 first-round picks are hardly enough for a player with Jackson's skills. The Ravens had more than a year to strike a long-term deal with Jackson. Now he may not even be in Ravens until the end of next week. The Jaguars won a long-term deal with Evan Engram, and sticking the franchise label to their franchise record-breaking tight end was the best way to get this done. The tight end market isn't strong in free agency and Engram was in high demand after a career year. Engram receives $11,345 million, a slight increase from his $9 million salary last year. Good for the Jaguars, they deal with one of Trevor Lawrence's best pass catchers soon possible. Especially they have 4 more months to work on extension. Jesse Bates' departure from Cincinnati seemed like an inevitable consequence after the Bengals failed to come to an agreement with her on last July's franchise line. Bates had some resistance before deciding to play under the label. The Bengals decided not to tag Bates this time and paid him $14.46 million, less than they would have gotten during free agency. Bates will get significantly more in the open market and the Bengals will likely lose one of their franchise's core players. Cincinnati must pay Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, even if it means losing Bates. He was someone who made a difference in the latter. Sanders wouldn't get a franchise tag from the Philadelphia Eagles, so he's probably the best back runner available in a crowded market. How much are teams willing to pay Sanders, given he is the best runner available? If the 3 tagged fullbacks are making $10,091 million, Sanders could definitely get $8 to $9 million per season from teams that desperately need a runback. There are cheaper options, of course, but these players didn't produce the way Sanders did in 2022. After tagged runs, James Conner is the next highest contract at $7 million per season. Of course, Sanders could get more than that amount as a free agent. The Chiefs still have 1 week to make a long-term deal with Orlando Brown, this time making a business decision not to franchise him and pay Brown $18,244 million for 2023. There are huge gaps in both combat positions as Andrew Wiley is also making his free agent next week. Depth of fight is seriously questioned if the Chiefs don't hold Brown or Wiley. But Brown is a standout on this offensive line. Kansas City did not have the $18,244 million guarantee and salary cap to negotiate an extra 4 months with Brown. If the Chiefs don't sign Brown this week, he will be paid by free agent. The Chiefs would be back in the fight. A frightening sight for Patrick Mahomes.